Live, just about well live now. Good evening, folks. Thanks for coming in. We hope you're all ready for the big storm. Well, for everybody in Scotland, that is, we hope you're all ready for the big storm Babbitt that's coming. And just mind to keep safe and well and stay in. Don't go out unless you really have to for what the weather people are saying. So just, you need to stay safe. You need to stay dry, etc., etc. But tonight we are joined by Highland Cathedral singer Robyn Keen. Good evening, Robyn. It's good to finally have you on. Robyn's a different kind of guest. We've never had a singer on before, but once you listen to her and you hear her talk, then you know she's really an very interesting lady. So, Robyn, are you all set for the big storm that's coming?
Yes, well, I was just saying I had planned a weekend up in Glencoe this weekend, but I think that's going to have to get cancelled, unfortunately. The one time I planned a trip up north and this happens, but oh well.
Stay at home. Stay at home and keep the studio, whatever you call it, front of the telly and eat crap all weekend, and you'll be totally fine. Totally fine. But it's good to have you finally on. I don't know if this is the first kind of paranormal channel you've ever been on or not.
It definitely is.
Is it? So we're the first.
Yeah, it's the first paranormal channel and it's the first podcast, yeah.
Oh, that's your first podcast as well?
Yeah, I've done a kind of interview before over video, but not an actual podcast. So this is the first.
Right. Well, we are very honoured, very privileged to be your first. Good evening, Rob. Good to meet you. Good evening, Gav. Always a pleasure. That's Laura. She's one of ours. Now, I need to put. I'm still in the cold, so if I need to mute every now and again to cough, then I do apologise. But I got the magic syrup today. A bit of advertising. Give on it. It tastes like crap. It tastes really, really bad. I'll be honest, but it does the job.
It does work. Yeah, that's good.
It's where that medicine used to get as a child. You might be too young to remember it, actually, Robyn. We used to go to the doctor, and it was like an old-fashioned amoxicillin. You know, you go to the doctor, and the bottle was that colour, and it was this red stuff. The doctor gave it for everything. You know, your leg could be hanging off. Say, here, take some of that, you'll feel better. And
is it like the Benylin stuff?
Aye, stuff. It was like that. It was disgusting. But they just rang me right here. Take some of this stuff. You know, it was a waste of time going to the doctor. All you had to do was just go in and collect your bottle because you knew what you were getting.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, regardless of your ailment, shall we say? But enough about that. I want to talk about you now. Highland Cathedral. What's Highland Cathedral?
So Highland Cathedral is a song. It's actually composed by two Germans, which a lot of people do know because they like to point that out every time I sing it, because I'll put a wee Scotland flag beside it and they'll be like, it's actually composed by Germans. Yes, I'm aware of that. But the song, the lyrics were added 10 years after the song, and the song is about Scotland. The lyrics are about Scotland. Highland Cathedral is actually a church in Glasgow. So, yeah, there's always been a bit of controversy. There's been people that think Highland Cathedral should be our national anthem. And I think I prefer the song to Flower of Scotland, but I don't think it will ever get it purely for the fact that it wasn't written by Scottish people. So I don't know. I don't know whether that's always been a bit of a debate. Does it matter? Does it not? It doesn't bother me. But it was written for the pipes. So I think that's where the confusion is, because it was written for the bagpipes and it was actually for Highland Games in Berlin. People have always associated it as being Scottish, but it's not. So there you go.
As you say, I don't think, it is beautiful, but I don't think it'll ever take on as a national anthem.
No, I don't think so. No. But the reason I sang it, the reason I've released this one is because not many people knew there was lyrics, or not many people have heard the lyrics. But I had sang that years and years ago. I was in a play on the Isle of Man when I was younger, and it was a play called The Land and the People. And we sang this together at the very end of the play as a choir, and all the harmonies were in it and everything. And I still remembered the song from then. I'd always kind of had it in my head, and whenever I heard the pipes playing it, I would be singing the song in the background. But when I released it, I just assumed loads of people had heard it, but it turns out very, very little people have heard the lyrics. So it's been nice to kind of bring it to life, I suppose.
I know what you mean when you hear a song and you just assume, everybody's heard it.
Mm-hmm.
As I said to you before, I'm a big Tommy Scott fan. I have been for years. I don't actually know if he's still doing his stuff or not. I think he lives in London now.
Right.
But I've been out Tommy Scott for a long time, and there was quite a few songs that he did, Scottish songs, and I'd be maybe singing them at work or something. Somebody say, "What the hell are you singing?" I said, "See, you never heard that?" I said, "Never heard that in my life." But you do kind of just assume because it's Scottish and other people are Scottish. Well, you must know this.
Yeah, that's it. So, and there's been loads of songs that have been written by Scottish people that you would never know either. Like loads of really famous pop songs that were written by Scots, and you just wouldn't know. But I suppose the songwriter doesn't always get the credit. It's whoever's singing it.
They don't. It's the same. I think that's the same. The writers, they're always seemingly in the background.
Yeah, they're bringing it a bit more forward now, but I suppose that it's always been like that. It can be a good thing as well, though, because it's the songwriter that makes the money, so you can just sit in the background and
rake in the pennies.
Yeah.
When did you get into the whole singing thing? When did when did the singing start off for you?
So actually, years ago, like I said, I've sang in plays and things like that when I was younger, and I did the music festivals at school. But really, the singing, me and my best friend Amy did a song in the music festival, and it was a duet that we did together. And we didn't know, I suppose we knew we could sing, but we didn't know we could sing that well together as a duo because we speak exactly the same. We've got the same speaking voice. We were always together. So when we sang, our voices blended really nice together. So we sang this song and we won the competition. We were the only ones in it. That's why we won it. But we did. Ever since then, we just started singing together. And Amy came up to my house one day and we were 12 years old, and she'd written this song on the guitar, and it was absolutely incredible what she'd written. And she sang it to me, and I said, right, sing it again. And then I sang the harmony part to it. And that was it. We started writing songs together from then. We actually left school at 16. We both were dying to get out of school. We hated it. And we thought, well, what can we do that doesn't involve learning much? We just, exams and things like that, we just couldn't stand. So we thought, we'll go and study music and whatever else. Like, we ended up doing the same course at college. We lived together. And then we started gigging in Glasgow as well. And I remember us being underage because they used to say to us, oh, well, we'll just pay you in alcohol, pay you in free drink. But at that point, we were underage. So we had to get wristbands and everything whenever we played and go into these places because we were underage. But we would bring a whole crowd of folk from Arden to these gigs. Great support. So we gigged from about the age of 16 to 21 in all the kind of old man's pubs. Like we had Cooper's and the Clutha, the Victoria Bar, and we'd do like weekly open mic nights and things like that as well. And then we got up, as we got a bit more experience, we were doing sort of small theatre gigs, the Mugdock, Harbour Arts Centre, any gig like that. It was kind of small, and we could usually sell them out as well. So it was great. It was a brilliant experience. But the problem ended up being like, we kind of said yes to every single gig, and we strained our vocal cords because we would have kind of crappy PA systems like karaoke machines that you were singing through. So you would have a drunk audience, you'd have no monitors, and you were just singing over the top of this drunk audience to try and hear your note. And then you would strain your voice, you'd lose your voice, you'd get laryngitis for a week, and then you're back to square one of, trying to recover your voice. But it went on like that for too long, and the two of us just got a bit sick of it. So it was a shame because you needed to do these gigs to get the experience. However, they weren't the right kind of gigs for what we were singing. Our stuff was kind of sit down and listen. So I think, yeah, we just kind of just fizzled out, really, the two of us.
I know you mean about the Glasgow, but I'm from Glasgow. I don't come on now, but I'm from Glasgow originally, and I've been in a few of them as well. And you get the singers, you know, and I've always found it annoying, but when you're sitting in a pub and you get a singer on and they're really good and you try, but everybody else is just, you know, they're out for a night out, obviously, you know, had a few years.
Yeah, it's not actually the people's fault. I think it's whoever's brought these musicians in. You really need to find out what sort of music he's singing, because, you know, I was out recently and I saw the most amazing band called Overdrive, and they're like a rock band, and they were playing in the Howlin' Wolf, and they do all the rock songs, and we were like singing along, singing our hearts out, top of our voice. That's what you want to hear when you go out, and you know. So when you've got like we had a lot of songs that people sang along to, and they loved listening to us. But when you're getting drunk, you're just talking louder and louder and louder. So our stuff just wasn't suited for the pubs. But when we had a gig in a theatre, for example, where people had paid to come to listen to us, the place was silent. That was like a dream for us, and it was just. It kind of, the other ones felt a bit soul destroying, whereas those ones were incredible. And you got the atmosphere was unbelievable because it was so quiet and you got the close harmony. Everything was, it was just meant to be in these kind of venues. But we were just young at that time, so we didn't really know what, we were just saying yes to everything. Like I said, we said yes to every gig for the experience. Whereas if we'd been a bit older and thought, you know what, it's not worth our voice, have to say no to that, we would probably do it differently now.
You know, because back then you were young, you were enjoying what you were doing, you were wanting to get out there.
Exactly. And the open mic nights are great, you know, like Rio Cafe, we did every open mic night in Glasgow pretty much. And you could get the odd really good one, and we ended up meeting Phil Campbell. I don't know if you know the singer Phil Campbell, he was with the temperance movement. He was in the audience one night, and after hearing us sing, he then said to us, will you come and sing with me and do backing vocals? And we sang with him for a good few years, and we had some fantastic gigs with Phil. So you just don't know who's in the audience. That's the other thing. But yeah, that was years ago. I'm older now, and there's time passed in between that where we kind of both lived in different countries, and then, you know, I would say 10 years actually passed where I did nothing, because I would sing one song and my throat would be killing me. And even now, if I go out to the pub, the first thing my mum says is, don't shout and wreck your vocal cords, you know, because as you get drunk, you speak louder, but my voice just does tend to go like, and if I've ever to do a gig or anything, I really, really need to warm up my vocal cords. I need to train all morning. I need to do my warm-up exercises, or it just goes. Unfortunately, it's like a niggling thing that's there.
So do you have a set routine of warming up, or you know, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I watch YouTube channels, YouTube videos on vocal warm-up exercises. I should do it a lot more, but if I'm recording one day, like a lot of my stuff now I just record in the house, so I don't have a problem with a live audience if it's loud or anything like that. But the thing is, if you're singing live, there's no issue if you've got a good sound engineer and you've got a monitor, you know, that giving you instant feedback. Like, that's why you have monitors. It's so that you can hear the note that you're singing, because the speakers tend to be in front of you. So when you sing, the notes are going out into the audience and you can't hear. So if you've got really good equipment, which most places do, then you're absolutely fine. But not with what we used to be up against. Some of the things that you'd walk into and look at this speaker and you're just like, oh my God, this is going to be a nightmare.
It was just, when we've been away on holiday and stuff, you know, you get the entertainers and the holiday camps and what have you, and sometimes, you know, I've seen a couple this year, and they've been good, you know, young girls and that up singing, and they're up doing all their stuff and they're doing the dance moves, you know, no Scottish music, but like ABBA and blah, blah, blah. And I've sat there many a time, and you're watching every, around you in the pub, and they're all just walking about and shouting and talking, having their own kind of party night to themselves, and you think, this poor lassie's up on that stage,
I know,
and she's giving it 110%, and there's only 2 people clapping.
I know, and it always comes to the end, and you're like, and it's like 1 or 2 people, and you're like, oh God, I feel for these people. We've all been there. But I think when it's entertainment in the background like that, like, I think singers, they're used to it. They're not, people haven't, again, you've not paid to go and listen to these people. So it's just been provided. So you're out having a meal with your family or whatever, and, you're just all like chatting away. So sometimes you're not even aware that the song's finished. So I think, I hear exactly what you're saying. I feel sorry for them, but I think they will be aware that, look, you're just here for kind of background music. Don't expect a big audience that's going to appreciate what you're doing.
You're not going to get a standing ovation. And I've seen, I've seen people, the song will finish. I've done it myself. You've been talking, and the song will finish, and you go, what?
Yeah, I know. It's awkward, but yeah.
It's like, oh, very good, right. What were you saying? And
I know.
You're back, but it's what they love doing. So, why Scottish music? What was the attraction? Because there's all different types of music out there.
Well, my mum and dad always played the Dougie MacLean album in the house, and we had a guitar in the house. My dad used to kind of play away and just teach himself, and he taught me how to play Caledonia. That was the first ever song I ever played and learned. And again, Amy had come up to the house, so I was singing. This time we used to swap, whether I would sing the lead and she'd do the harmonies, and we'd switch. So whoever learnt the song first would take the lead vocal, and then whoever came in to listen to the song would do the harmony. So with that one, I had learnt that on the guitar, and Dad had taught me, and then Amy would come in and she did the harmonies. And so it was always the Scottish songs, just from what we were brought up listening to. And the first time I actually ever heard The Dark Island was when Amy stood up to sing. I'll never forget it. We were in a youth club at the time, and again, I think she was only about 10 years old, and we were all told to stand up and do like a entertainment, whatever. And I was always the girl that did poetry, and Amy always sang when we were younger. But so I stood up and did a poem, and then Amy stood up and sang The Dark Island unaccompanied, and it was like the most haunting sound ever. And I'd fallen in love with the song since hearing her sing it. So between us, we both had a huge repertoire of Scottish songs. I think her dad was a piper as well. That was probably where that came from. So he would probably play the pipes and tell her, oh, sing this. And my dad was in the house saying, oh, sing this one. So, a lot of Burns songs as well. I'd know all the Burns ones. And again, we would just get together and sing it and do the harmonies and things. So we were just brought up around it, and probably being from a Scottish island as well. We've had the folk festival and things like that. Barbara Dixon, that was another singer that was always played in the house. And my mum was a singer as well. So she was always singing the folk songs as well. So in the blood, I suppose.
I mean, when I was young, you say about you and your friends used to sing. I've got a mate stays in London. I've not seen him for a few years, but we grew up together. There was, I think it's 3 days between us age-wise. He's older than me. I hasten to add, I'm the youngest. But we're in the Cubs and the Scouts together, and we were like brothers. We did everything together basically. But he was very, very talented with the piano and the guitar, and he had a piano in his room, and we used to get in his room, and he used to play piano. I used to sing, but he thought you were great, And his dad used to come in. His dad was like a second dad to me. So was his mum, bless him, they're passed away now. But his dad would come in and say, "You're pig rotten. Go on and shut up."
Sure, that encouraged you.
Oh, I did. But his dad and his mum were. His dad was a stage manager, and his mum was a lighting director of the Glasgow Gang Show. I don't know if you ever heard it or not.
No.
The Glasgow Gang Show was a show. It was Scouts, Guides, Venture Scouts, and and it ran every year for a week. It was usually around about Easter time. And it ran for a week in the King's Theatre in Glasgow. Now, Gaff, I've heard you sing. It's interesting. I don't know if that's Laura. I don't know if that's a compliment or I don't know. It's interesting, but
that's to you.
Aye, that's to me.
So that is a compliment then.
So I think it might. Thanks, Laura. I think it might be a compliment. But they ran the Glasgow, helped run the Glasgow Gang show, and so Brian was part of it, and excuse me, but my singing is better. Yes, okay. Laura's best at everything. You name it, Laura can do it better. But Brian, he was part of the cast in the Gang show, and he says to me, "Why don't you audition for it?" To me, I'm like, "Get away." He says, "No." So I went along and auditioned in the Scout Centre in Elmbank Street in Glasgow.
Oh.
Down the stairs, this is where the auditions were. So, and I sang "Bridge Over Troubled Water." Never forget it.
Song.
And I loved it.
We used to sing.
Sorry, though.
We used to sing that.
So I practiced in Brian's house.
Yeah.
For the big audition. And his dad was like, "You stink. You'll never get in. No chance." And but that's the way his dad and I were. We would slag each other off all the time.
Yeah, but did that put you off?
No, it just made me more determined.
Yeah.
And so I went along, did the audition, went home. I got a phone call. You've been accepted. Everybody thought you were great. So I've done the Gang show for about 5 years.
Oh wow.
On and off, but I think it's finished now. I think it's all done and dusted now. But I'm getting back years ago. So. Yeah. But it was good. I actually had a role in Fried Egg with Stanley Baxter.
Really?
Remember Stanley Baxter?
What was he from? What band was that again?
He was a comedian. He used to be on the BBC all the time. He was quite famous.
I don't recognize the name, but
because the guy that financed the Gang show, he used to run a restaurant right across the road for the King's Theatre, and he knew all the big stars at the time. Like Stanley Baxter, Andy Cameron, Alistair McDonald, people like that. Yeah. So they were always in his restaurant, and Brian and I used to go in on a Saturday before rehearsals. And there was one Saturday, we were sitting at a table, and I was eating a rolling egg, and Peter, the guy that owned it, came in, and he says, saying hello to Stanley? I turned to Stanley Baxter, off the telly. We were only 16, 17 or something like that at the time. So, this was a mega star for the TV. And so that's Stanley Baxter. I watched during the telly. And so we started, have a roll fried egg with Stanley Baxter.
Brilliant.
That's my claim to fame. It was big back then. Back then it was.
He sounds like a rock star anyway.
He was a comedian. He was like, do you remember Dick Emery?
No.
Right, I'll just shut up because I'm giving them a
I'm usually quite good with these names, like older comedians and things, because my mum always tells me about people. So, but no, I've not heard it.
Mike Yarwood, Morecambe and Wise.
No.
You've never heard of Morecambe and Wise?
No.
Oh, you need to speak to your mum.
I know. She'll be embarrassed.
Cannon and Ball?
No.
No? Oh, no. I'm going to need to send you a list. I'm going back. The Gang show was like the 80s. So I'm going back to the 80s. So you're probably too young to remember. But as I say, it was my claim to fame. I was telling everybody, and folks just thought I was weird. But, my way he went on, he actually did really well for himself. He works with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra now in London.
With who, sorry?
Brian, he tours with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra.
Oh, wow.
He lives in London. So he kind of tours all over here. He works with the BBC as well. But, I mean, Scottish music, the thing that first attracted me to Scottish music was, you probably don't remember this either, it was a programme called Thingamajig. Ask your mum, she'll know about it.
Yeah, again, that rings a bell.
It was on every New Year.
Right.
And you had the big stars of the day on it, like Andy Cameron, Alistair Stewart, the Alexander brothers, people like that. They were on it, and that's what got me into Scottish music.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean, these songs, they never die. That's the thing. Like, I mean, even now, I was actually sat with my mum today. I'm talking to her about maybe doing a Scottish album, and I want to do some of the ones that are like popular, but I also want to find some old songs that maybe not that no one's heard. Obviously, I've heard them, but that aren't as popular, and bring them back to life, because like some of these songs are, you know, from the 16th century and they're still getting sung today, like the Parting Glass, and it's still a gorgeous song, and it can be done in so many different ways. But that's what I love about them. They don't ever, they're kind of timeless, aren't they? You can make them originally. Yeah. So I love them. Do you know why I love them? Because they're so easy to play. There's usually only 3 chords, and my guitar skills are very mediocre. So honestly, I'm absolutely below average at it. So if when I see a song that's got 3 chords, I'm delighted, and they tend to be folk songs.
Brian tried to teach me to play the guitar, and it was an absolute disaster. I think it was 2 or 3 chords I knew, and you know, you go out and you buy yourself a guitar because your friend's trying to teach you. You know, I'm going to buy a guitar, and you're walking about with the case. You're on the bus and everything with the guitar in the case, and it was, well, he's got a guitar. He must be talented. You know, I do. You can only play 1 chord, you know, and.
Yeah, you feel quite cool the first time you carry a guitar about. I remember that feeling.
Or you've got your shoulder like that, walking through Glasgow on your shoulder, you know. But failed miserably. I will admit, my guitar lessons lasted about a week. That's, you know, I ended up selling the guitar that I bought. You know, I was never going to be another Angus Young or anything like that. Never. But it used to annoy me, Brian, because he could play any tune, you know, the guitar or the piano. He'd say, right, play Old Wine Drinking Me, and he'd sit, and he'd talk to you while he was playing it, you know, until ears, show off. That's Kate Fraser. She's in Chicago. She's a bit under the weather just now. Kate's viewing it. We're going to come to that, Kate. Fun enough, Kate was on the other night with me with Simon Entwistle.
Oh, yeah. Is that Kate, the lady I saw on from America?
Aye, she's from Chicago. She's got the flu just now. So I think we might have passed it on via the internet the other night. She's under it. But I mean, Scottish music is, excuse me, is timeless. You know.
That's it. They're going to carry on forever, you know. And the other great thing about them is there's not any copyright on these anymore. You know, so if you do your version and you release it, you get the full copyright and full royalties on them as well. No one owns them. So that's awesome.
So you get that. You must get that sense of pride, you know. I've watched quite a few of your videos, what have you, and you can feel you can see the passion that you've got for the songs, and you do get a great sense of pride even listening to somebody else singing. You know, Flower of Scotland, whatever it is, Amazing Grace and stuff like that. And
I like to try and make them a bit different, because I suppose these songs, like the Flower of Scotland, you kind of imagine it kind of belted out at Murrayfield or Hampden or wherever, and it's usually shouted. So when I did that version, I wanted to do it softer with all the harmonies and things. So I think when people hear it, they're a bit like, oh, that's Flower of Scotland, you know, because it's different. So any song I do, especially when it's as popular as that, I try to make it a little bit different, because there's no point in singing it the same as everybody else does. And it's the same with the Amazing Grace. I tried to slow that one right down as well. But yeah, I do. I love these songs, and I like to just try. I'll go over it and over and over it until I've got it to a point. I'm like, right, that's how I want it to sound, and then I don't spend long on them at all on the TikTok ones, as you know, like it's a fast-paced platform. You've got to keep churning them out. But that's why I love it, because you only have to share 30 seconds of it. And, you know, then people say, oh, can you sing more, or can you do the second verse? And then you've got another video for people. So it's been brilliant. I love it. It's the best platform for interacting with the audience anyway. And the last thing I expected was having an audience for the Scottish songs. I just thought, who's going to listen to this? You know, but every time I post anything that's a Scottish song or a folk song, they get thousands and thousands of views, whereas I try and do a more modern one, or one that I've written, and it's like, just falls away.
I totally get what you mean, because we've got a TikTok, you know, we obviously, you know, big as yourself, and our views are, you know, we 3, 4, I think our highest views is about 900 in one video. But I do the TikToks, and I try to kind of mix it up. I put some kind of horror ones in, sort of thing, you know.
Yeah.
But I put a lot of gospel, because I'm a big fan of gospel music as well.
I love it.
Scottish music.
Yeah.
And, you know, I usually be the Gaither vocal band, Alan Jackson, people like that. Put their songs on it, and then I'll put Scottish ones. Mostly Tommy Scott. I will admit, I mostly use Tommy Scott. Like Hail, Hail Caledonia, Florida, Scott, all the different kind of songs. And I love doing them. And even though, you know, I don't know if you're the same, Robyn, you put the video together, you know what's on it, but you still love just watching them back. You know.
Yeah, as long as I'm really kind of picky on the audio as well. I like to make sure it's a nice, clear audio for people to hear, because I can't bear it if it's like, well, I have done quite a few where I'm not using the mic and things, and the acoustics in this room are really echoey. So when you sing through the microphone in your phone, it's not great. But then a lot of people don't care, and they don't notice, because all they care about is that it's like a raw video. So I have mixed it up a lot. I've done a lot where it's through the mic. I've done a lot where it's just playing like I will tonight. I'm not getting mic'd up tonight. And, you know, so part of me is a little bit like, oh, I need the microphone to make it a nice sound. But actually, you know, a lot of people just love the fact that it's completely raw material. And that is what TikTok's about these days. They can tell something that's overly produced and edited and everything. People aren't into that. Not in that.
I totally agree that they just want normal. They want natural.
Day-to-day stuff. Yeah.
I mean, no disrespect to the people who get all mic'd up with all the fancy gadgets and stuff, but a lot of people just like just a natural, to hear your voice, you know, basically as it is. Kate's asking, can you buy the rights to all the music? I can't remember. And I think she answers her own question. I guess not, because everyone would.
I don't know if you can buy the rights, but certainly if you were to cover a song, a folk song, because basically copyright normally lasts something like, this might not be right, but about 70 years after the person dies. So obviously a lot of these old folk songs were written in the 16th to 19th century. So the copyrights ran out on it. So when you then cover it, or you do a version of it, you will get 100% of the royalties and the shares from it. I think that's right. If there's anyone watching this that knows the facts, I might be wrong, but that's what I've heard anyway. And I do a lot of my songs through PRS, which is the Performing Rights Society. So I have to do that with every recording anyway. So when you're trying to find the original songwriter, they don't really exist. So. Yeah.
You were saying about Gwen Cole, you know, and stay away from it this weekend. I remember watching one of Tommy Scott's videos, and he done a song about the massacre of Gwen Cole.
Oh, I've been requested that one.
I'd love to hear you do that one.
Right, I've got a request for that from a man from TikTok as well. And it's on I've got a book now with lists of requests that I'm trying to get through. But that one stuck in my mind because I thought I wish I'd tried to record it before I went up there. And I could make some footage with it, because I could record the video while I'm there.
It's a beautiful part of Scotland, as you know. It's I've been through it many times. I always my biggest memory of Glencoe is when I drove the trucks. I had to stop for a break and I pulled in a lay-by, and it must have been about 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and I was sitting on the crash barrier sort of thing, you know. Probably shouldn't have been sitting there, but however. And it was a beautiful day, and you could not hear a sound.
Wow. So there's no tourists there?
There was no tourists, nothing. It was completely deserted.
That's unusual because you normally see busloads of people at these lay-bys, don't you?
Aye, they're usually everywhere, and I just couldn't get my head round it. You know, I can't even hear a pin drop. There's total utter silence. But
most amazing place, isn't it?
It's amazing when you think of the history that's there as well. It seems all of Scotland, you know, not just Liverpool, but it's absolutely beautiful there.
Yeah, it's amazing. Even in the rain. Even in the rain, when you drive through, when you first come into Glencoe and you've got the road going down through the mountains, it's just like breathtaking, isn't it?
That's what I was going to say. Even though the weather's not great, it's still beautiful. We went to Inverary a few months ago now, and it was a really cloudy day, and the clouds were coming down over the mountains and what have you. We ended up in Oban as well. But I took a lot of photographs and I put them together on my TikTok, and I put the Braveheart tune.
Oh, nice.
And after, I know thick-headed probably, I don't care, but I thought it looked amazing with the, you know.
Well, you were saying to me you wondered how I popped up in your TikTok. So I had a look at your TikTok and I was like, well, we should be able to work it out because of the algorithm. So because you attach all these songs to your videos, because I had a listen and I was, I've done that one. All the songs that you've attached are songs that I've sang. So it's matched us up. That's how you'll have found me.
Right.
Because it's similar to what you're listening to. So because you're listening to all these songs and I'm then singing all these songs, it's suggesting me that you would like my music. And then you do. So it's worked.
It worked out quite well since, you know, we're your first ever your first ever podcast. Used to haul logs in Argyll. Glencoe was beautiful, just had to stop. All of Scotland's beautiful, but Glencoe just is that draw.
Oh, it does. It's unbelievable.
I don't know. It's hard to describe it. I mean, you get up through the Cairngorms and what have you up to Inverness. Beautiful as well, but
yeah, it is. But for me, it's Glencoe as well. I mean, obviously from the Isle of Arran, I'll always say Arran's got the most spectacular scenery, but Glencoe, mainland Scotland, that's where my favourite. And then going up to like Camastarach Beach, you know, up near Arisaig, that's stunning as well.
Arica. I've been up Ben Arthur a few times. I've climbed Ben Arthur a few times. That was an experience.
Yeah.
But I know one thing that just popped out of my head. I had to say, I know you're quite a keen swimmer in these rivers.
Yeah.
How do you do that? I mean, one of Sarah's friends, she does that. She'll go swimming in the sea air in the middle of November and stuff like that, you know. And
again, it was being brought up in Arran, really, because there was rock pools all around the island that you would go a walk and there was a rock pool and you would just jump in it when you were a kid. Didn't even think about it. And there's a place called the Blue Pools on Arran that we all went every summer. We would go up there. We kind of think it's our pool. So whenever there's tourists, we're kind of like, oh, God, you know, bugger off. Like, but
this is our place.
This is our place, but you can't really say that. But if you get up early enough, then you can get the place to yourself. But then they all traipse up and they take over. So yeah, we've been swimming. We've been swimming in there since we were, I don't know, 5 years old. Every year we would go to the Blue Pools, and now it's just something that we do in the summer. I would jump in the winter as well, just because of the feeling that you get afterwards. As long as you get something nice and warm to get into afterwards, you've got hot chocolate. you just get some buzz off it.
I imagine, I don't know. I mean, we were up at Loch Lomond, I don't know, 2-3 months ago, and we were in the loch, and it took quite some time to wade into waist height.
Yeah, or you can't. You just got to run and jump. You can't think about it.
That's what I was going to say. The video you're in, you're standing on the rock and then you dive.
I mean, it's absolutely torture. It's freezing, but there's no other way for it. If you start dipping your foot in and things, you're going to be there for an hour. So you may as well just jump and get it over and done with.
I suppose you're right. It's like wading into the sea, you know, you get bit by bit, and then you see a wave coming to it. I mean, it's only a wave, but you're terrified for your life because you know it's going to be freezing.
Yeah.
And you kind of, right, here it comes, brace, it's away. Woo! That was cool, you know. But I just think it's insane. It's, you know, I just could never, ever do it. So Sarah's pal, she does it, and best of luck. You know, I just would certainly not do it. Another song I'd like to put this on your list, if you will, is The Road to Dundee.
The Road to Dundee. Let me write it down in my book. The Road to Dundee. Is it a good song?
It is.
Right. So that's playing cool. Right, cool. Well, what you can do then, if you go onto one of my videos on TikTok and write it as a request, then I can reply to you with the video, so that it's more personal.
Excellent. I'll do. You need to do it now.
Do it at some point.
It's a beautiful song. That's what I was saying the other day. Every song tells a story, you know, regardless. And The Road to Dundee, I don't know if a lot of people have heard it. It's one of these songs about a guy who's, you know, on his way to Dundee, and he meets a young girl, and she asks him, "Can you tell me how many miles it is and how to get to Dundee?" So he walks her to Dundee.
Oh.
And she sticks in his mind for, you know, forever, basically. A lot of women in my area, Dumbarton, are wading into the loch these days. It helps mental health and well-being. Excessive. Personally, I'll leave it. I'm with Tony on that. It's good that, you know, that it helps people, but I'll stay out of the water, kind of thing. But so this woman sticks in this guy's mind, you know, because she gives him a wee brooch, a pennant, and says, "Keep you this in remembrance of me," basically. Right. You'd need to listen to it. It's a beautiful song.
On Spotify. I'll listen to it.
I'm giving away my age now, you know. Just before we go into paranormal, what about Kayleys?
Kayleys, you know, like we did them at school, and then every wedding there's a Kaylee. If I'm drunk, I absolutely love them. You know, you need to be pissed, I think. But do you know what? I think they're brilliant. It's the one thing that no matter whether you can dance or not, you can get up and do that and you're involved in it. Do you know what I mean? I think they're brilliant. I do. And it kind of breaks the ice a wee bit. It gets everyone onto the dance floor at a wedding. I always think if you start with a few of the Kaylee dances, there's no excuse. You have to get up. It's rude not to. You know, unless you have a broken leg, you should be on the dance floor doing that dance. You know, you end up like, I've come home from weddings with like big bruises all around my arms and things from the Kaylee dance and swinging you around. And yeah, it's brilliant.
I always remember my first, I never knew what Kaylee was, and it was a friend of mine. I think I must have been about 16, 17. He was getting engaged. And it was, I'll never forget, it was in the old tax centre up in East Kilbride.
Yeah.
And so me and Brian went, and it was on for a good night, you know, 17-year-old going to get hammered at your mate's engagement party. And he says, "Well, I'm having a Kaylee." And we says to him, "What the is a Kaylee?" What's that? He says, "Oh, it's brilliant, mate. It's brilliant." Laura says, "Sometimes a song just touches you, and it says things you can never say to a person." Very true. But he says, "I heard my Kaylee." So, she said, "You know what? Let's go." And it was absolutely brilliant.
What, had you not done it before?
I'd never heard. I'd been at a barn dance.
But did you not get taught it at school?
Oh, the Dashing White Sergeants. Oh, that stuff. At Christmas time.
Yeah, because we had it compulsory at school. I don't know if they still have it compulsory, but we had to learn it.
We had it, every Christmas, a month before Christmas or something. That was key.
Yes, I know. And we all hated it, but you don't forget them, do you? No matter what, you still know.
They scar you for life, And then, but no, you're right. And then, during the K with that, right, we're going to do the Gay Gordon jing. I used to do that in school. Come on, because the drunker you get, the better you think you are.
And the drunker you are, the better the Kaylee is.
Aye, and so we started going to Kayleys, and people would be going to discos. We'd be going to Kayleys.
Oh no, I wouldn't be going to a Kaylee out of choice.
Oh, we did. We
That's different altogether.
And it was my first Burns night as well. No offence to Rabbi Burns, obviously I was a lot younger. Somebody says to me, "I've got a Burns night, you want to come?" So I thought it was a Kaylee. Totally ignorant. Totally oblivious. I thought, Burns night, Scottish music.
Yeah.
How wrong was I? It was a nice night, but it was near Kaylee.
Speaking, doesn't it? I love a Burns supper, but if you get someone good, addressing the haggis and stuff, it's brilliant. But if they're rotten at it, then it's a bit boring.
And if you're all geared up for a good Kaylee,
and you're sat down eating haggis, then you're.
When's the music start? When's the music start? But I mean, Scottish music, absolutely love it. And always we used to go to Aviemore as well, and there was a wee pub in Aviemore called the Illicit Still, and they used every Friday night. They had two guys on, one of the guitar and one of the wee kind of penny whistle sort of thing, and they would have a lock-in every Friday night, and they would just play Scottish music till 3 or 4 in the morning. Yeah,
it's brilliant, isn't it? When you hear it live, it's brilliant.
Aye, it's so. It's probably because we're Scottish.
Yeah, probably is that. Probably everyone else thinks it's crap, but.
Aye, I've known a few people say that's a load of crack, from Scotland. Stick it is crap. It's a beautiful song. Have you ever listened to it? And but paranormal. I'm watching the time. Kate was now. You told us you told me previously you've had a paranormal experience, and I've been trying to find out what it is. So you hail from the Isle of Arran originally.
Yeah, so I'm from the Isle of Arran, and my mum bought this hotel called Alta Horvey. It's now called the Arran Lodge. And I actually told her this morning I was going to tell her this story, and she's like, "You can't say that. I won't get any bookings. No one will come to stay." I was like,
surprised.
I said exactly. I said you might get the opposite. You might want people coming to stay because it's haunted. But anyway, this is my view on it. It's not everyone else. There's always going to be like a reason for this happening. Anyway, so I'll give you a bit of the backstory. I think it was built in 18 something. I don't know the exact date. I should have probably found that out before I come on, but built in 18 something. And there was a story, Lady Asquith, who was Lord Asquith's wife. He was the Prime Minister during the First World War, and they came to stay in Arran during the Second World War. And they were supposed to stay at the Ormadale Hotel in Brodick. However, it was full, so they came and stayed at Harvey. She had contracted typhoid, and she died in room 1 in the hotel. Mm-hmm. So when my mum bought the place and I went to stay for the first time, I was like, "What room did Lady Asquith die in?" And she was room 1, but it's not haunted. And I said, right, okay, well, any room but room 1. She said, right, okay, go and stay in room 11. So, yeah, I'm not going to tell you that I saw this lady, by the way. It's not that exciting. But anyway, I always had the feeling that the place I had, before I stayed there, I thought, oh God, it's haunted. So I'd stayed in a couple of rooms above and felt absolutely nothing. And, you know, it was quite a nice night's sleep. And then I go into room 11 and I'm, you know, it's a single room at the very end of the hotel. And I get to sleep, and about, I don't know, must have been about 3 or 4 in the morning, there's this like absolute crash bang noise in the toilet. And because it's a hotel, there's nothing in the toilet for it to fall off or anything like that. So I like went into the toilet, and it was just basically the shower had fallen off and was like swinging. And I'm like, first of all, how did it get off the holder? It wasn't as if the whole pole had fallen off. Like, I've got that in the house just now where the pole keeps falling off, but this was like off the holder. So again, I looked at it and I was like, right, okay, didn't think anything of it. Went back to bed. Next thing, an hour later, I get woken up and like the heater is like burst into this glowing fire, right? I mean, I can only describe it as I thought the heater was on fire. Mm-hmm. And I woke up, again, my heart's pounding. But at this point, I feel something in the room, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? You know, there's something going on. And instantly, like, I just wanted to go and turn it off, but I thought, is the room on fire? Because it was like glowing, this kind of glow. And I went over and I was like, I couldn't understand, because it was like a heater on the wall. There's no reason for it to be making that colour. So I just switched it off at the wall and it all went off. And then I'm like, but nothing kind of made sense to me. Like, why is it that colour? So anyway, what's that? I would have been out of there like for sure. So in the morning, obviously, I eventually get back to sleep. But you know that way when your heart's just pounding and you're just like, there's something in here. Anyway, I get up in the morning, go down, say to Mum, I said, Mum, that room's haunted. She went, what room are you in again? I said, room 11. Oh yeah, that one is apparently. I said, what the hell are you putting me in there for? And she said, oh no, I mean, I didn't think it really was. But a lot of people who'd stayed in the hotel used to mention that the room 11's haunted. I said, Jesus. And I said, I am never sleeping in there again. I said, whatever's in there didn't like me. You know, it's making itself aware. So there'd been a lot of, after hearing that, after me telling her, she then decided to tell me that this was the rumours, that room 11 was haunted. But it wasn't the one that Lady Asquith died in. She died in room 1. So that was probably haunted as well. But the other one I wanted to tell you about quickly on Arran, because I know you've chatted about possibly going there, is Brodick Castle would be a good one for you to investigate. So there's a story about the Grey Lady. I don't know if you've heard about this, no?
No.
So the Grey Lady, again, it was a story when we were younger that she used to haunt the castle, and we were fascinated by this when we were younger. So as you do when you're younger, you want to believe every ghost story. So we would go on our bike. Sometimes we'd say to my dad, can we go and cycle up to the castle and look for the Grey Lady? And so you would cycle up, and obviously every single movement in the window, you'd be like, that's her, that's her, that's her. So I never saw her. I mean, I claimed to see her every night I was there, but I was working in the Brodick bar at the time, and there was a Polish girl had come over to work, and she was staying at the Wine Port, which is at the foot of Brodick Castle. And she came into work one day, and it was like a glorious summer's day, and she came in and she said, I saw something on the beach today. I'm pretty sure I saw a ghost, but it was during the day. And I said, right. And she was like, I can only describe it as like, she said, it was just a girl dancing by the beach in a long white, she said it looked like Edwardian long sleeves white dress, and she had long hair. And she said, I mean, it was lovely. She was, I wasn't scared. I was just watching this girl dance on the beach and couldn't keep my eyes off her. And I looked away, and then I looked back and she was gone. And I was like, oh my God. And, you know, I didn't associate this as being with the Grey Lady, right? But see, yesterday, I've always remembered her telling me about that. And yesterday I was like, I'm going to research the Grey Lady more because I'm coming on to this show. So I looked at it, and I've got it on my phone somewhere. And can I read it to you?
Yeah, I go on.
Okay. So I screenshotted it, right? So this is what I found online about it. So a grey lady haunts Brodick Castle, and this is thought to have been a servant girl from the Cromwellian times. Is that how you pronounce Cromwellian? She had a love affair with the captain of the guard and became pregnant and was then dismissed from the service at the castle. She tried to return to her family in nearby Corrie, but they disowned her. Distraught, she went to the Wineport Quay, which is where this girl claimed to have seen this girl, and by the entrance of Brodick Castle, and drowned herself. And her ghost haunts the servant areas of the castle, such as the kitchen, the lower corridor, the turnpike stairs, which lead to the east tower. So when I read that, I was like, that story came straight back to me about the girl, and that was where she apparently killed herself in that river where she was dancing. So there you go.
That's true. No, we would. It's Aaron. You know, we love Kilmarnock, so we're doing the air, you know, coast quite a wee bit. So you see Aaron, and it's we've been to Millport. Laura and her husband Craig, they love Millport.
Yeah.
I'm not saying a word. But we keep saying, right, we need to go to Aaron, we need to go. But it's one of these places you say, you need to go, and then 10 minutes later you've forgotten about it, and the next time you go down the coast, you're like that, you need to go there. But I definitely want to go there. The hotel, were you the only guest that night in the hotel?
Yes, I was only, my mum was upstairs, there's 2 floors, she was up the top. Oh no, was I actually? Maybe I was put in room 11 because there was other guests in it. I think I might have been. Yeah, we had a wedding the next day. We were doing a wedding the next day. So I was down staying there to help for that. So yeah, I think it would have been, there wouldn't have been anyone in.
So maybe whoever it was just trying to get your attention and say, you know, I'm here kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with you.
Is that, because I've not, like, is that, have you heard that before where, like, the thing that was confusing me was, why does the heater look like it's on fire? You know, and it wasn't.
You see, I mean, that could have been, you know, because you were maybe half sleeping, or could be in a way, maybe there was some kind of outside light shining on it, you know. I mean, there's many different reasons.
Yeah.
This is the thing about the paranormal. As you said before, you told us these stories, Robyn, it was nothing, you know, your encounters were nothing spectacular. But this is I've spoken about this a lot of times. A lot of people are under the impression that the paranormal has to be, you got a ghost right in front of you, or your table lifts 6 feet in the air, you know, or your doors or cupboards start flapping about and stuff. It can be the smallest thing, you know, because a lot of people say to me in the past, I don't believe in the paranormal. What a rubbish. Their view. But I say to them, well, have you ever had something happen to you in life, regardless of how small, seen something, smelt something, whatever, that you couldn't explain?
Yeah.
But you've not told anybody because it seems totally weird to yourself. You say, oh, aye, I have, aye. So who's to say that's no paranormal? Spirit is many ways, you know, trying to get our attention.
Yeah.
So it's possible that, you know, if there's a lady in your mum's hotel, that's how she decided, you know, I'm going to knock that shower off the... I mean, spirit can be quite powerful. A lot of people say, oh, spirit can't move things, but it's happened to us. Excuse me, we've got one on our TikTok with a K2 meter that gets knocked over. Some people say that it fell over, but it was on a flat surface. There was no, it fell to the right, to the left there was a brick wall, so it wasn't a draft, there was no wind or anything. It just decided, as soon as I
watched that one.
You know, I think I started talking about a guy called James or something. And then as soon as I mentioned a gentleman's name, the K2 get knocked over. And, you know, people are going to doubt it. It's understandably.
No, I'm like the 50% skeptic as well. And even that night, there's always an explanation for it, but it was the feeling in the room as well. I mean, I know your heart's in your mouth in these situations, but even when I wake up every night usually to go to the toilet, right? And you'll wake up, and the first thing I think is there someone in here? You know, is there a ghost? And even now, when it's dark, I think that way. but I never feel scared because I'm then reassured that, oh, there's nothing here. But when you actually wake up and you feel it, and you're like, shit, there is, that's when you're like, oh my God. You know, and I think if it had just been that incident with the shower coming off the handle, and you know when showers are in the handle, how the hell can they get themselves out when they're sat? It's not like it was facing down the way; it was up the way, so it had to be lifted off. That's what I don't. I mean, I know there's people probably laughing at me when I'm talking about this, but it was the whole thing when you walked in, the thing swinging there, and you're just like, oh my God. And then an hour later, the heater, and I'm just like, how did that switch itself on? It's not on a timer. Even if the heat wasn't a timer, it's not coming on at 4 a.m. You know, again, my mum was like, don't tell them that. I mean, then we've got fire. The fire people will be out. And I'm like, shut up. I'm not changing the story. I'm not changing the story to make it less scary. You know, like...
She sounds really, really nice. She sounds really, really sweet, you know. A typical mum, you know, you can't tell them that, you'll scare them away.
You'll scare them away, or don't tell them about the heater, or if the fire brigade will shut us down or whatever. But no, it was odd, but it was almost like, you know, the old fires you get that have the gas thing where they do have an orange glow. Those heaters, it was like that, but it's not one of them. You know, it's not like that in the middle of the night, like glowing bloody flames as if the thing's in fire. But anyway, it was an odd experience.
Did you feel threatened or anything like that?
I just felt something in here. That's how it felt. Like this, it was very like, you know, that can just be your adrenaline. You know, your adrenaline's pumping through your body as well. You just feel like everything's heightened. It just felt like that, but it was just, it wasn't nice. But I didn't fall back asleep, mind you, so it couldn't have been that bad.
No, I don't think it was negative. I've had that feeling a few times that somebody's standing, you know, beside you, somebody's standing watching you. The strongest one I had was at Loudon Kirk. I had the feel there was a guy standing right, and I turned around, I expected to turn around and just see him standing there. But there was no, and I said to everybody, I says, I feel there's a guy standing there, and you could see him in your head, you know, and you wanted to turn around and say, right, you know, what you want, but there's nobody, you know, there was nobody there. So I totally get what you mean about the feeling, but it's, I mean, as you say, the shower head came out and you're like that. How the hell did that happen?
Aye, that's it. And
I don't know.
You know, it's one of those ones that sits in and you have to lift it off. So that's what I couldn't. And it was like I'd used the shower, so I knew it was back properly. And I was like, the only way that kind of come off is if it's been lifted off. You know, it's not just falling off. It's not one of those ones that could have done that. But anyway, it's one of those ones. You need to watch it. You need to watch Uncanny. I watched that last night.
Oh, God, no, I'm going to give it a watch. But no, that's one of those ones. I've had a few of them happen to me. The weirdest one, I was in my old flat. I used to live myself, and I've these couple of habits that I think I got them off my dad, actually. Bless him. But one was the TV remote. Every night I turned the TV off, I would put it in front of the telly, you know, on the wee stand, in front of the telly. One day I went to get the TV remote and it wasn't there.
Yeah.
So, you know, where the hell's my remote? Now I lived myself, you know, and I'd been at work and hunted the living room, could not find it. It was in the bathroom, the only one bedroom, but I was in the bedroom. And I couldn't, and I'm back in the living room, and then I looked through the bedroom, and my bed was about 1.5 feet off the floor, where the mattress was, and I saw this black thing about halfway under the bed. I thought, what the hell's that? And it was the TV remote.
Under the bed?
Under the bed, about halfway in the middle, underneath the bit on the floor. And so, you know, I was telling people, no, I said, why would I put my TV remote underneath my bed? I just wouldn't do it. But, you know, and the other strange thing was my dad had this habit, and he used to drum it into us. You put your key in the lock, turn it, lock your door, but turn it 1/4 to the left. I don't know if your mum does it or not, but my dad does it all the time. Well, he used to, you put the key in, lock it, and then you turn it 1/4 to the left. You see why? He said, because if somebody is trying to get into your house, they'll be able to poke the key. But if you turn it, they can't poke the key out.
Oh, right, yeah.
So this was a thing my dad drummed into me. Hey, Jim Doll. And so I used to do that in the flat. And then one day I went to go to work and I thought, my keys weren't in the door. I thought, where's my keys? I found them on the coffee table. Now, I know myself, I didn't put them there. No, they were in the door the night before when I locked the door.
So you've always done that?
It's something I used to do, and I used to always lock my, even if I was getting into the house and I knew I was getting back out in maybe half an hour's time, I would just automatically lock. Not that I was scared of anybody coming in or nothing, but it was just like second nature. Yeah. And then 1/4 to the left.
Yeah.
The keys were on the keys were on the coffee table, and I don't know. Kate's put an investigation with Robyn on the card, Scott. Very interesting. Well, you never know, Kate. We'll wait and see. So I'm watching the time, but we're going to wind it up. But you've got a wee treat for us first, I do believe. Before we wind it up, I want to get you back on. I want to talk about more paranormal with you, but I'm conscious of the time. But I've been waiting in this treat, so.
So I'll move back a little bit. So I'm going to do a wee song for you, since you asked.
You don't ask, you won't get.
No, that's it. I thought I would do The Dark Island because it's a Scottish one, and I always thought this song was written about the Isle of Arran, but it's not. It's about Benbecula. But the lyrics sound like it's been written for Arran, so it's one of my favourites. So here we go. I'll do 2 verses and 2 choruses for you. Away to the westward I'm longing to be, where the beauties of heaven unfold by the sea, where the sweet purple heather blooms fragrant and free, on a hilltop high above the dark island. Oh, I love my childhood, I'm dreaming of thee, as the steamer leaves Oban and passes Tyree. Soon I'll capture the magic that lingers for me, when I'm back once more upon the dark island. So gentle the sea breeze that ripples the bay, where the stream joins the ocean and young children play, on a strand of pure silver I'll welcome each day, and I'll roam forevermore the dark island. Oh, I love my childhood, I'm dreaming of thee, as the steamer leaves Oban and passes Tyree. Soon I'll capture the magic that lingers for me, when I'm back once more upon the dark
was amazing. I'll give you a wee clap.
Thank you. Oh, that awkward one clap.
That one clap. No, I'll get back to what I was saying. No, that was amazing, dog. That was really, really nice. Kate says, absolutely stunning. Thank you, Robyn. What a moving song. It is.
That was a lovely song, isn't it? It's another pipe song as well.
And when you're listening to it, this is the image I get. If you're sitting on a mountain, on an island, maybe and you're looking over the water.
Yeah, that's what I get from it. I imagine being up, and it's the thing is when you do walk up the hills in Arden, it is always full of heather in the summer times. It's exactly what it's like when you live there. So that's why I always thought it was about Arden, but it's a bit further west, Benbicula, and a bit further north. So
a bit further northwest, but no, that's it.
Yeah,
you can shut your eyes, and well done, another great tune. Thanks, Tori, buddy. You can shut your eyes, you can just see, the sea and the hills, and just feel it's really, really.
That's the thing with the folk songs as well, where you kind of, the minute you start listening to the lyrics and the music, you feel like you're there, don't you? That's why. Same with country songs. Like country songs tell a story, don't they? So it's like our version of that.
I just muted myself, Laura. Laura, it's so amazing. Thank you. I can visualise everything you sang about, Laura. No, you're right, Robyn. I mean, I'm a big country and western fan, and I know a lot of people in the past have said, "Oh, country and western." It's always my dog died last night. My wife doesn't love me anymore, and I lost my job, and I'm drinking a bottle of whiskey on the train. But it's not like that. Some of them are.
Nah, they're brilliant songs, and they've become more popular. I think country music's come back in, and a lot of the young people are loving it. I think people love anything that they can sing along to easily, and that country music's got that about it. It's easy to remember, it's easy to pick up, and you can get right into the song when you want to sing along. And there's something about that, isn't there?
It's really catching, and you notice it a lot on TikTok. There's a lot of country and western songs on TikTok that I've noticed, and it's excuse me, it's cough. You just want to. There's a lot of country and western songs on TikTok, and it's a lot of young people that are up dancing to it.
Yeah, they're loving it.
Or singing it, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the old music is coming back.
Yeah. It's a bit like fashion, like, isn't it? It does its kind of waves in time. Like it'll come into fashion, then it goes out of fashion, and I just always think that with clothes, like, oh, the boot cuts are back now. I mean, I wore them when I was like 12 at school, and I remember then it came into the straight leg jean, and I thought, oh, I'll never wear boot cuts again. I mean, you went right off them, and now they're back in, and now all my straight leg jeans, I'm like, am I going to have to go back to boot cuts and buy a whole new wardrobe because everyone's wearing them?
I'll be leg warmers next one. Mind the leg warmers.
No. But yeah, music does that as well. It becomes like, I don't think older songs ever die though. I think they're always there. It's just whoever's singing it at the time can maybe bring it back.
One of the greatest examples I ever seen, I'm a big Elvis fan. I have been since I was 11. And back in the year 2000s, Elvis, the band that played with Elvis back in the 70s, they were doing a world tour. They had Elvis on the big screen, and the band was there live. And they started in the year 2000. They were only going to do it for 1 year, but it was such a success. They'd done it for about 5 or 6 years running. So I went to see it at the exhibition centre. And it was always sold out. And people used to say, Elvis is old news, he's dead, blah, blah, blah. But see the amount of young people that were there, and you're talking teenagers, kiddies, as well. And they loved it. I'm using Elvis as an example.
Yeah. No, I loved the Elvis film, actually. So I wasn't an Elvis lover, to be honest. I'd never quite get into it. But when I heard his story, I appreciated him so much more. You know, his backstory and the way he was brought up and everything. And it was just so inspiring. And then since then, I'm like, oh, I love the guy. And it kind of has made me it made me listen to more of his songs. But I was always put off Elvis by the typical tribute, the tribute bands that you get on holiday. And I was just, oh my God, you know, another Elvis tribute band. But actually, you know, he had some great songs. And him as a person, he was amazing.
It was. I know what you mean about the tribute bands. I hate them. No offense.
They didn't spoil the original singer.
I've only seen one good one. It's in Lanzarote one year, and it was an Irish pub, and it was an Elvis impersonator. I thought, here we go, you know. That was my usual reaction, Elvis impersonator. But I went to see this guy. I thought, yeah, I'm going to go and see him, have a couple of pints. And the guy was amazing.
Yeah.
He was, you know, he'd done a fantastic, and I went back to see him the following week. He was that good. He done, and he did all the costume changes for all the different eras, you know. And the guy was brilliant, but there's just some out there that just shouldn't, you know.
No.
Don't. But not. I've been an Elvis fan since I was 11, so that's. I'm going to give away my age here. I'm 57 now, so that's 46 years or something, you know. And yeah.
Phenomenal.
A lot of people attacked him. He did put on weight. He did, you know, overdo the prescription drugs and stuff. But at the end of the day, he was a human being.
Yeah, and that's what, I mean, a lot of the artists at that time were kind of forced it. They were made to be addicts as well because the record labels controlled them as well.
Mm-hmm.
Ray Charles and people like that, you know.
And he took uppers and downers and stuff because, I mean, the guy was on the road 6 months out every year, you know, every night.
Well, you're going to have to take something.
Doing it, you know, he used to do a month-long season at Vegas once a year where it was 3 shows, some 2, sometimes 3 shows a day.
I mean, I don't know, as a singer, I don't know how people do that. Like, it's always been, if I did a gig again, my biggest fear is losing my voice, you know, because, and so I see these tours where they're back-to-back gigs, and I just think, how do they actually do it? How does their voice last? It's just, it's mind-blowing to me. Maybe, I don't know, maybe people have like proper vocal coaches and things, but I just know how it feels after singing, even for 2 45-minute sets. I'm like, I'm completely done in. Mm-hmm. It's really tiring. So yeah, you've got to hold your hat off to these people that did that back, especially back in the day when it was like constant, like you say, 3 times a day.
Aye, he would do an afternoon and then an evening and then a midnight.
Mm-hmm. So of course they were giving him stuff to keep him awake. You know, you couldn't have done that otherwise, and then they become hooked to it.
He was taking uppers and you know, but at the end of the day, he was a human being. You know, he had his faults, but the fact is, get away from the personal side is like what he actually accomplished and what he did for music, fashion, you know, a lot on the professional side there. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he's been gone since 1977 and he's still as big today as he was back then.
Yeah, no, it is incredible. And like you say, the young people enjoying his music as well.
Aye, there's a whole new generation, you know, and I mean, every year the anniversary of his death, August 16, there's thousands gather at Graceland, you know, to remember him.
You know, he was so young, wasn't he, when he died, which was so sad. He had so much to give.
He's still so much ahead of him, and 42 years old, you know. But it was, to me, he still always will be the greatest entertainer of all time. Apart from yourself, of course. You're not a bad singer as well. You know, you're quite good with a wee tune. You know what I mean? But we'll wind up there, Robyn. I'll hold on you for a wee minute after we come off, if that's all right.
Yes.
My 18-year-old loves Elvis, Queen, Buddy Holland. Good taste. So where can people find you?
So all the socials are So I'm on TikTok is where you found me. So that's I've only been doing TikTok properly now for a few months, but I'm really enjoying it because I'm engaging with the audience there. So people can request a song, and if it's a song that I'm able to sing, I'll do it, and I'll tag you in the video once I've done it and things like that. So it's a really good platform. YouTube is where I'll share longer videos, and you'll get the full song on there. And Instagram is kind of, well, it's just, I don't know if it's great for music or not, but it's where I would share if I was doing any gigs or anything like that. It's more information based, I suppose. But yeah, all three of those. I'm on Facebook as well. It's Robyn Keen Music, and I'm sure it is my name up there somewhere. No, Robyn with a Y. There it is.
Robyn, it's up there, and it's on the.
Yeah, in Keen.
I put your Linktree link and your TikTok link in the post on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you'll find me on there.
So definitely give her a look up, folks. As you can see, as you can hear, sorry. As you can see, you know what I mean? I'll try that again. As you've witnessed tonight, you know, very talented lady. It's just lovely to chat to, and we're hoping that she'll want to come back.
Thank you for inviting me on. I appreciate that, and it was, like I said, my first podcast, so it's been fun.
One for us, you know, you get that one.
As long as you add and investigate the Broddick Castle for ghosts.
Sorry,
saying as long as you go to Broddick Castle and try and find the grey lady for me, I'll be happy. We will
do that. We will look into it, and we'll definitely get that done. We will go over to Aaron. I say, I'll hold on you just for now, so just don't touch any buttons, Robyn, until we come off. Well done, guys. I enjoyed that. By my bedtime early start. Cheers, Tony. So that's us for tonight. We were going to do filming on Friday, but a lot of you hear the weather warnings out, so we're going to give that a miss. So just if you're out this weekend, if you do encounter the weather, please be safe and stay indoors as much as you can. But we're heading to Dunfermline on Monday now, weather permitting. But a major thanks to Robyn for tonight. Absolutely loved it, and hopefully she wants to come back again. I always say that when we're still live, Robyn, because it puts the guest on the spot. You know.
I forgot to tell you the main platform where my music is.
Carry on.
Spotify.
There you
That's
go.
where my music is. Yeah, Spotify. I'm on there.
You'll find her on Spotify. All right. So again, thanks to Robyn for coming in, and hopefully we see her again. And thanks to everybody that watches, and we shall see you all again very soon. So take care for now. Bye. Bye.